Hey everybody, how's it going? We're working on the little Honda CT70 again today, and I got the frame parts pulled out here. We're going to try to get those cleaned up and ready to go back on the bike. We got the wheels done on the last video, so let's see if we can get the frame parts cleaned up and get an engine in this thing. It's a little windy out here. I apologize for that wind noise in the camera, but we're working with what we've got. I think I mentioned in the one of the previous videos how badly blown out these little turn signal ears. This is the headlight mounts right here, and then the turn signal's screwed in right here. And these are really blown out and in really bad shape. So I think as of right now, my plan is to maybe drill out, I don't know if you can see it in camera or not, but there are 3 little spot welds. Maybe drill out the spot welds on the interior one, which would be this one, and try and repair it that way and leave this outer one welded on, because that's what's going to show. So if we can leave that welded on and not have to mess with it, that would be ideal. I am going to try to soak this one in water to try to pull that sticker back off. And if we can't, no big deal, we'll just sacrifice it. But it would be kind of cool if we could have that. The sad thing is, this bike was probably registered at one point, so we might get a little bit of a fight with the Indiana B&B trying to get this thing registered. So let's hope not, but might be just a little bit of a fight on that. The swing arm just needs cleaned. It's pretty grimy, as they tend to get. So we'll just do our best to kind of clean that up and shine it up to the best of our ability. We are not going to repaint anything. The front forks, same way. We're just going to clean them up. I got new boots, new rubber boots to go on that. And we'll check the oil level, probably re-oil everything, clean everything up. Rear shocks, same thing. We'll just clean those up best we can. And then the main frame, or the main body of the bike, is in pretty good shape. It's got some dirt and some crud underneath, but overall, pretty decent shape. So we'll clean this up the best we can. Probably just do a bar and chain oil treatment down here on the bottom and on the inside where any rust areas might be starting. But I'm not planning on clear coating it or anything like that. It does look like this handlebar stop is bent, boogered just a little bit. So I'll probably go ahead and try to repair that while we've got it apart. But otherwise, let's get these pieces cleaned up so we can get an engine in this thing. On this one here, it looks like 2 of the spot welds are actually already loose. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it looks like that one's already loose. And this one's already loose. So we should just be able to break that middle one loose. Yeah, the bottom one might still be attached. I don't want to bend it too much because it's super thin. Yeah, let me go get a drill. I'll just drill out. I don't know if you can see these or not on camera. Let me see if I can get enough grit to show those. There's one there, and one there. This one's already loose. This one's almost loose, and we'll just drill that one out and see if we can't get that to separate from its outside. I took out that little piece in the center so we can kind of work it back and forth and hopefully break it loose. There we go. All right, so I'll go in and I'll straighten all of these out, and then we'll drill our spot welds completely out so we can weld this piece back on. And we'll clean these 2 halves up, and we'll make it ready to go back together. This one does have the piece on top is still attached, so we don't have to do any welding up there. So the only welding we should have to do is right here. We'll clean that up. Well, I say the only welding. Probably need to fix that. And we'll beat this out and make it resemble a circle. And then we gotta weld that guy back in there. Let's see, which way does this go? It looks like there's half of a little lip hanging up there. So I think this goes this way. Is that right? Does that complete the loop? It's hard to tell. I think that goes that way. I'll look at the other one and figure that out. But yep, let's get that cleaned up and start working on straightening that up. Yeah, I got one ear kind of beat back into submission. And it looks like this actually connected down, but it has been stretched and kind of all messed up. So I can't work that back down without bending this top. And this little bushing or through point for the turn signal fits perfectly in its little witness mark. So I don't want to kind of mess that up because that is going to line up perfect to weld that back in. So we'll just filler rod all of this to get that kind of back together. It kind of messed up, but it's straight now and should do the job. I might work on it just a little bit more right here. I think it looks way better than it did, and this actually does line up pretty decent in there. And it does kind of act like it wants to sit right in that little, where all those little cracks of metal kind of go together. So we'll go with that. I think it'll work. This piece also has just a few dents in it. There's one there, a slight one there. It's overall in pretty good shape, but I've got a pipe mounted up here on the vise. We're just going to use that to kind of dolly those dents out best we can. Yeah, those came out fairly decent. This one's a little hard to get because the reflector bolt is inside, so it's hard to lay it flush, but that one came out pretty easily. Yeah, I can live with that. And then I hammered the spot welds so that there's no high point on that. So when we go to weld that back, that should sit pretty straight. Now I'm just spending some time straightening this piece out. Just putting it in the vise and using that as kind of a sheet metal brake, so to speak. Just trying to get it where it'll go back in. You can see that is not a straight line. So let me go grind these points off so we can get that in the vise flush, and we'll put that in to straighten it up. I felt like it did have a little curve to it, so I put that back in. I think we've got this one not as good as we're gonna get it. Can't get back in there now. There we go. May need to come over just a little bit, maybe. And I don't think these went into that. I'm gonna look one up. Go look one up and see if these actually punched together or if they stood off like that. Because honestly, I don't know. Probably need a little bit more curve on this top piece. Make it lay flush. If I just pinch down on it, it actually isn't bad. Yeah, and there's a stress crack on this piece as well, right here. So we'll go ahead and repair that while we've got them apart. Try to do that repair. Yeah, and then we'll have to drill these 3 holes out, and we'll fill. This is super thin stuff, but we'll try to fill those 3 holes. I'll just put a piece of copper pipe behind there, and we'll fill those 3 so that when we go for plug weld with this guy, it has something to go into. I just looked up a couple pictures, and it looks like in all the pictures this part does actually stick out and it doesn't go in flush. So I think if we bring it over just a little bit to make it perfectly straight, that dude is done. Well, we gotta do all the welding part, but you know, the fitting part's done. Well, it's not very pretty, but I think it will do the job. I just welded a little washer up there to kind of reinforce it a little bit, kind of get my weld out past where it was broken down. I just put 3 little tacks on it there. Yep, not perfect, but I think it'll hold. And then this one I welded from the inside. Yep, it'll work. And it is pretty straight, so I think it's going to serve its purpose just fine. I got those 2 ears fixed, and now I'm up on the forks, and occasionally these are a little challenging to get apart. So I have found if you just drive a screwdriver ever so gently into that little expandable, adjustable slot. So this is what tightens your fork down. There's a bolt down here that tightens it up. You just drive a screwdriver into there and then gently tap on this end. Let's see if I can do it and not be in your face. Comes out much easier. You just barely have to tap. And the reason they get all seized is because they get rusted and nasty and ugly. But we're going to clean that up. If you just drive a screwdriver, it doesn't take very much. Just a tiny bit right there. You want to be careful with this. It's a cast piece. You don't want to get too ridiculous with it, but you just tap it in there. It'll work just fine. But if you just tap it just a little bit, just enough to give you a little bit of an opening, you can get those right out. Shall we see if there's anything in either of them? A little bit. Water. It looks like there's some water in that one. Yum. Definitely water in this guy. And goop. Wow. They weren't empty, or this one wasn't empty at least. Let's see what's in the other one. That one's missing a washer. And probably about the same. Not seeing as much water come out of this one though. I don't know what these are supposed to hold, but we'll look that up. Probably just top them off till they spill out the top. Yep, they weren't empty. That's a positive sign. Mmm. I've got those front shocks kind of all cleaned up. I just threw the springs, they were really nasty. Just threw those in the ultrasonic cleaner with some vinegar, and they cleaned up pretty nice. The little plastic bushings are still fine, and then I cleaned the little steel collar there underneath the spring. They turned out okay. I cleaned up all right. But the other one has a broken spring. So this is the other one. I don't know. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Yeah, maybe you'll be able to see it. It will line up perfect. I can do it in camera. Right there. So I found the other piece. Trust me, it lines up. So I am going to attempt. It's kind of hard to weld springs. Oh, I had it. I'll let go of it. But I'm going to try to weld that back together. I'm not planning on riding this bike hard or beating it really hard. But I do want the two sides to have a fighting chance to start off even. So I'm going to weld that little guy into that. So I just found a piece of tubing. It's actually a socket that fits perfectly in there. That'll help me kind of line that up when I go to tack weld it together. And hopefully we don't melt it away too badly, but having that in there will help me keep it straight. Let's give it a go. Yeah, I don't know if it'll hold or not. It's not the prettiest of welding jobs, but it stands I give it a 50-50. How about that? 50 miles or 50 seconds, whichever comes first. It might make it. I guess the real test is to see if the little plastic, is it still hot? It's still warm, but I think it's okay. See if the little plastic sleeve will still go in there. A little snug, but it works. I got that swing arm all cleaned up. I just put it in a bath of soapy water. Just kind of scrubbed it. Paint came back pretty good. Pretty happy with that. Well, the areas that there are paint. There's definitely some rust on it. I'll just treat that with some oil. Hopefully won't keep it, or we'll keep it from going any further. Again, we're not going for perfect. We're just going for a runner, rider. So I can totally live with that. So now all we have left is the main frame. So let's kind of give it the same treatment, soapy water bath, and then we'll see what we've got to work with. That wind is really picking up. I don't know if you can see this or not, but there's a bend right there that I don't think is supposed to be there. So I'm going to try to straighten that just cold without any heat so we don't damage the paint. But if I can't get it, I have to put a little heat on it. And I'll straighten that before I clean it. But I assume that is supposed to be straight. Might be wrong, but you can always bend it back. So I've just got the frame sitting on the concrete here, and I took a little pipe. It has a little bend in it. Hopefully that's enough leverage where I can get my foot up high enough. Kind of push on that. Now, I don't know that it's factory straight. Focus. But it's definitely straighter than it was. So we're going to go with that. I think we're going to get a free rinse off. It's starting to sprinkle. Started out sunny, but it's starting to sprinkle. Well, the rain has stopped. The sun came back out. It rained long enough just to rinse us off, which is good. I don't know if you can see the reflection in the paint or not. I'm trying to move so you can see it and maybe get out of it here. But the paint came back really nice. It's still got a real nice shine to it. I'm trying to move a little bit so you can see it. Yeah, pretty much all that shows on these is right kind of in here. So all of this stuff up here that's rust, surface rust, where the paint's been kind of knocked off, like where the chrome strip goes, this will be where the seat goes. All of this stuff gets hidden. There's some brown gunk on it from where they had the tape on the seat. There's the inside all cleaned up. Yeah, I'm pleased with that. Obviously there's some rust, a little bit of pitting down here on the bottom. So we'll just treat that with a good coat of oil to prevent that from going any further, but otherwise, I think we're ready for some assembly. What do you say? I flipped it around to the other side. The side obviously that doesn't have the chain is in a little better shape. Everything isn't getting slung up on the frame, so obviously it looks a little more tidy. I like it. I like it a lot. Well, it's kind of starting to look like a bike again. I noticed the one nut is not a acorn nut, so I'll get one of those and trade that out. This one has to come off anyway because it's got that rubber bushing I need to replace. And I'm just cleaning the nuts, bolts, and washers with a wire wheel as I put them back on. So I didn't have to do that all at once. When I do a project like this, I usually just put the nuts and bolts back in the hole that they come out of so that I'm not trying to hunt them down later and say, now what went here? I just put them straight into where I took them out. Because I know how my brain works. And 2 weeks from now, I'd be going, now where did those go? Thanks for watching, everybody. We're going to cut this one here. We'll see you on the next one.